All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to GGL2 Python versus Java. Thank you to everyone who is tuning in and that will join us. So we have a 4-match main card set with our first match being Dioxxy versus Alfaiate, which is set for a best of one. Following that, we have Ducc versus Luft, which is another best of one. Then transitioning, we have FF versus Kai, which is going to be our best 2 out of 3 co-main, and then our main event, which is going to be Java versus Python, both 1-1 in the GGL, both coming in as even picks on the betting line. And so we have the match live and ready to go. We are live on Kick at Golden Goose Live. We are live on Kick at Golden Goose Live, and so far we have our first match. We have our first match set to go, which is going to be Dioxxy versus Alfaiate, best of one. For context, we have the bands, which are Ari, Yorick, Cassiopeia, Tom Kench, and Malphite. And so in the meantime, we have to obviously attend the spectator delay for Twitch, which is, as always, unfortunate. As always, unfortunate. But aside from that, we should be set to go. So the first matchup is going to be Pantheon versus Jace. If you are in the GGL Discord server or the GGC Discord server, what you can do is that you can go to our PvP betting kiosk and you can bet virtual currency on this match. It should be the third match down, Dioxxy versus Alfaiate. Currently, at the moment, Dioxxy, with the money, despite being a 2.40 underdog, which for those of you who are unaware means that on every virtual coin you will earn back $1.40 or a coin 40 per individual coin, and then for Alfaiate you earn back 0.83 coins for every coin you bet. So wagers will close once the spectator delay finishes. As you see, first matchup, Pantheon versus Jace. And we would also like to thank our sponsor for this event, which is Deep Below Esports. And we will talk about them later, but big shout out to them for coming through and helping us out with getting competitors and promoting this event, as well as shout out to SNC, an esports team as well, thankfully as well, in the absence of some competitors who we hope to see next time. They were able to also step in. So if you go look for their Discord, show them some love, and we will talk about them later on. So for some background, Dioxxy is 1-1 in the GGL. Started off with a very unfortunate loss to a highly rated contender, and then bounced back last week with a dominant 2-0 performance, and then Alfaiate, a brand new contender in the GGL. Very promising player, and if I understand correctly, is Team SGS's mid laner. So we are 11 seconds out from starting our opening match. Place any last minute wagers before the line closes. This is Dioxxy versus Alfaiate, and welcome to GGL. Okay, so on blue side, currently 1-1 in GGL. we have Dioxxy, who showed up as the as the underdog tonight. And then out of the red side, making his GGL debut, we have Alfaiate on the Jace. So for those of you who are unaware, here are the standard win conditions for GGL. We have first kill, which in order to get first kill, the game has to say first blood, which will validate your first kill. First to 100 CS, and then first tower. All three are viable win conditions. It is whoever achieves it first. And then besides that, recalls are allowed. Competitors are allowed to recall at any point. You are allowed to use the bushes, although as seen with the Fog of War, you cannot enter the river. So you're allowed to enter the bush, but you cannot exit on the other side into the river. And then besides that, we use a blind pick format. All bans are done in chat, which is up to me then to update you. And normally in series of multiple games, the loser gets side switched, similar to a system you may see in LCS or LEC. So here looking at start, we got a Q start. We got 2 Q starts for each competitor, as well as 2 Dorn Blade starts as well with Pot. So Alfaiate definitely putting early pressure onto Dioxxy. And as the lane closes, roughly even in terms of predictions. So already first pot gone. So right now, Alfaiate really much stacking the wave. Very solid lane control. And Dioxxy just going to have to sort of contend as the wave pushes in. But like I said, this match is best of 1. But afterwards, we have another best of 1 in Ducc versus Luft. So please stick around for that. All right, Alfaiate with a very early level lead and keeping the pressure. Dioxxy about half health right now. And if we look at the CS gap right now, relatively really close. Although Alfaiate so far been pretty strong in controlling the wave. But still very too early to call, roughly even as well in Golden Come. Alright, sets up the E, getting early pressure. Dioxxy looking for a chase, but it's not really going to be there. Although big thing to note right now is that roughly about 10% mana for Jace, and so we'll see how this really plays out as Pantheon has Mortal Will up. See, right now it seems like he's just gonna want to. It seems like he's showing that he wants to play this early, kind of safe. And so right now, oh, W engage for Dioxxy. Use the E and getting a lot of damage. Re-engaged by Jace. Magnetic field was out, and so trade definitely favoring Jace, although Dioxxy with a strong wave that's now going to push in as he has reclaimed the level lead. And so he hit the recall, goes the W engage, the ignite, and Dioxxy finishes Alfaiate in game 1. Great performance by both of them. Definitely Alfaiate. A lot of, showed a lot of knowledge in terms of how he wanted to manipulate the wave, how he wanted to handle the game. But there it is. Game 1 goes in favor of Dioxxy. And so if you placed any wagers on him, you are looking at a very comfortable return. And so, like I said, once again, thank you to both of them. And we will get our next match started, although unfortunately we have to go to a very brief break, so we will be right back. Hello, and we are back. So we are back now for game number 2, and that is Ducc versus Luft. So you will see that that is currently the second wager down if you look at the GGL 2 PvP betting kiosk. And so Ducc comes into this one as a heavy underdog, 3.5, which means you'll earn 2.5 back on the one you wager. And then Luft comes in as a 1.50 favorite, which means you will get back 50 on the one. So currently we have a Jin pick currently locked in for Ducc, and Luft opts in for the Silas pick. And so it's going to be a very interesting matchup. Silas, very, very aggressive. That said, Jin with 4-shot. For context, here are the bans. So on the blue side, we have Caitlyn, Kaisa, and Varus banned out. And then on the red side, for left, we have Yone, Vex, and Bel'Veth. So those are your bans. And so you have until the match starts to finish up, get any wagers in. Currently, right now, Luft showing as a strong favorite. A lot of money coming in. So don't miss your opportunity. But now we will take a word. So like I said earlier, Deep Below Esports, a very generous sponsor in terms of helping us run this production. So Deep Below is having their very first ever Rocket League tournament, Deep Below Esports RO Clash in the Aquadome. So be sure to join in the Deep Below Esports for that on July 21st through the 23rd. It is an uncapped free entry tournament that anyone can join, and it is meant to bring in casuals and competitive players alike. The first place winner gets $300. That's $300 free because there is no entry fee that you could potentially walk away with. So if you are interested, go join the Deep Below Esports and contact Ahmad or a player about it. I mean, it's a chance to win $300 for free. And if you are curious, you can message _CUJO _Cujo CUJO for more information. Thank you very much to Deep Below Esports and for their support of Golden Goose and the Golden Goose League. So this one looks like it could be very interesting in terms of giving some context for these players. You have and so we are 30 seconds out. We have what's it called? Ducc, a sort of a what's that called? Definitely a very interesting kind of player. Typically has a more unorthodox approach to League as a whole. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Ducc, and then Luft. These very short 4-letter names. And then Luft is, from what we've seen, a fairly experienced player. Imagine a very much more technical style. We saw the Silas pick. We saw the Aurelia hover. Even based on the bans, someone that prefers more of the marksman role, which is going to be a more technical role with having to last hit. And so we are loading into the game. And Shanghai scrolls Jin. We've got Flash. We've got Ghost. And then Flash Ignite for Silas. And so on the blue side, making his GGL debut, we have Ducc on Jin. And then on the red side, also making his GGL debut, we have the favorite Luft on Silas. So both these competitors in their first 1v1 match, at least ones tracked by the GGL. And so one's going to walk away undefeated, and the other one is going to walk away winless. Some good sportsmanship in the chat, and so we will see. We have Doran Blade on Jin, Doran's Ring on Silas. We got a Q start, and we have an E start. Definitely will have to keep an eye out to see big damage cashed out on the electrocute from Silas. We will see, and we have the early ward set out, and he does not have a ward rune. Some players have made use out of Ghost Poro specifically to get bonus adaptive power off of when the ward expires. Then the Poro proccing gives one bonus AP or AD, which for some matches we have seen very much turn the tide. And we have eyeball collection, so no Ghost Poro for either of them. Oh. And there it is. A very quick engage by both of them. Luft punishing the 4-shot with an E engage. So both of them roughly at the same health. Although currently 0 right now for Silas on the CS. And so both of them kind of calming down a bit in lane. And just as I said, there's the engage, there's the electric proc, there's the ignite. We have flash out for Jin. And big damage engage there. Gonna really try to use this to come back. And are nearing the CS lead. There it is, flash engage, E, goes under tower. Oh! And Luft finishes Ducc just like that in under 3 minutes. Very, very strong finish for Luft as he improves to 1-0 and very, very aggressive, making good use of that flash, of the ignite. And, you know, credit to Ducc showing up, took this on quite last minute, both of them, so credit to them. But very strong finish. And Luft on the Silas is going to walk away with this one. So for those of you that wagered on Luft, you're going to see a very, very safe return. As now we get ready for the third match on our very competitive main card. We have FF 1-1 in the GGL up against Kai. So we are going to get that match set up. Don't worry, we're not going to take the full 5-minute break. We're just going to take about 2 minutes, get those competitors in here, and we're going to get my co-commentator for the night in here as well. So stick around. FF Freedom Fighter versus Kai. And don't forget to, place your wagers. Stay tuned. We'll be back in 2. I'm here with my co-commentator, Dioxxy, coming off a very emphatic win earlier tonight.
Yes. A good first beginning match.
Well, thank you. Put on a very good performance. And then, so any thoughts real quick on Ducc and Luft as we get this co-main event underway?
I mean, match was obviously a bit on the faster side, but it was still fun to watch, in my opinion. I enjoyed watching it.
All right. Well, it's very good. We hope everyone else enjoyed watching it. Definitely Luft, the big favorite, the big cash out on the night. And we are just going to get started here after we get this third and final ban. And so I want to say was that. Yeah, all right, so we are underway. They are in Champ Select. So, talk a little bit about FF. You've seen him here a bit. Kai is definitely the newcomer, short notice newcomer. So, what can you say a bit about FF as we see he's already locked in the Lucian?
Yeah, definitely likes to play his marksman and, well, for those who know him, Rise as well, hence the whole freedom fighter title. Um, Definitely a strong player. Uh, Very proficient on a lot of the marksmans he ends up picking, as well as Rise. He just knows the champs really well, so his mechanics are good. His gameplay's solid.
All right, and then we have Kai, who very fortunately, what's it called, was able to fill in as a last minute replacement. So the thing to note about him is that he is actually a flex player. So he came in very competent, very confident on playing a lot of different roles, a lot of different champs. So how do you think that's going to fare against this matchup, especially given that it's best 2 out of 3?
Well, I mean, he's definitely being a flex player. It sounds like he definitely has the edge. He has probably a wider range of champions he can play compared to the normal player. Probably more prone to just a lot of different play styles. So it could definitely work in his favor if one's not working. He could completely switch it up.
All right. Well, that's a good way to look at it. And so I want to give a shout out to more so another person who's another group of people that was very gracious to help us. SNC Esports. They were able to provide not only Kai, they were able to help bring Kai, especially as a last minute replacement when we needed it most to help keep the card afloat. Shout out to the manager Rain. She's very helpful, very much in terms of getting me in contact with players so we can bring you this entertainment tonight. And even as well as shout out to Explosive for being a backup. Fortunately, we couldn't get on a match tonight, but very much credit. They're looking for some players, and so if that is something that interests you, definitely go look SNC Esports. Very big thank you to them. I mean, you've kind of seen the back end. It's hard sometimes to put these cards together, so
For sure. Any help is appreciated.
absolutely. And hopefully those that unfortunately could not make it tonight, we hope to see them again. GGL's doors are always open for new competitors. But let's talk Lucian Pantheon. Now, FF's actually been on what's it called? Been in this matchup before. Been on the winning side of this matchup.
Yes, the very first round of the first GGL was the Lucian Pantheon matchup, with Lucian actually taking it. So definitely probably hoping for a repeat against, another Pantheon as Lucian. But I could easily see this turning to Pantheon's favor with how strong Pantheon can prove to be early game, especially when compared to some other marksmen or other champions who usually have a somewhat weaker early game when compared to him.
That's very true. So we are 10 seconds out. This is going to be game number 1. So just kind of quick, blind prediction. Obviously, as they didn't, they don't know who each other, what character they were going to go into with this matchup. So real quick, Lucian versus Pantheon.
Ooh. Definitely difficult to tell off the bat. He does snipe the cleanse, though. Within blind pick, he snipes the Pantheon pick by picking cleanse. Definitely a big key factor for him winning that first time against Pantheon.
Very, very true. And it kind of serves to be a very what's it called? A very strong neutralizer. But going into this, so on the blue side, we have Freedom Fighter, more so known as FF, 1-1 in GGL. And then we have his opponent, SNC's Kai, who, taking this, like I said, on short notice, much respect to that. in the red side, making his GGL debut on Pantheon. Some very interesting. Apologize for that. Sometimes client cut out, but interesting banter in chat. And they're already talking
Coming
about
to some sort of agreement here for next round.
It's not every day you see the opponents talking about next game's chat before the minions have even arrived for game 1. And oh wow, there's an early aggressive Q. And there's an answer back. So we are going to see, we've got, obviously, as we've seen, Q start for both of them. It is going to be Longsword triple pot for Lucian, Doran's Blade single pot for Pantheon, and we'll see how much of this wave we can salvage. Perfect first wave for FF.
Very good position to be in right now. A little bit of trading going down. Definitely looking to not want to just have another boring game, one almost solely on CS.
Very, very true. And so anyone that knows FF knows that he does not he's not a very, very big fan of CS games. That said, he does have a CS win on record, which was a very entertaining match against Chaos, which was definitely very promising. But so we got level 3 up for both of them, so all abilities should be up. And right now, this CS lead is really large, roughly about 15.
Very true, very true. Definitely that early CS advantage easily can be a almost game ender right on the off the bat, with just how hard it can be to catch back up.
Very true. And we've definitely we've seen that before, where, like you've mentioned, very hard to catch up. Some CS leads nearly insurmountable, and we are gonna see. I believe this is gonna be our. Oh, we almost just saw our first recall on the night. And so there's the engage. Does not blow cleanse. And so far pretty good. You got W down. I mean, he's got passive backup, but with W down and now backup, definitely
Very
not a bad
important.
spot for FF.
Yes, very important to hold on to that cleanse. Definitely a little bit of a game winner there. Just being able to hold on to that cleanse as long as possible for the right moment, not blowing it too early or losing it to one of these small engages.
Okay, so we have double longsword and dagger for FF. And now that we've got Kai taking it back, we also see come back with double longswords as well. So, I mean, that's the one advantage definitely of an AD build, is that longswords are just such a easy to build item. You get the 10 flat AD, and on top of that, relatively cost effective.
Very true, very true. Pantheon definitely looking to get an early serrated Ducc into this matchup. Hopefully just supplement his damage that much more. Honestly, gears towards his best plan. He is still down by about 10 CS, so he is definitely leaning towards finishing this game through a engage, hopefully.
Definitely agree with that. And so as we look at the both of them, oh, level 6 gonna come up first for Pantheon. And so now this is very very dangerous territory, as you have both sets of sums up. You got PTA versus Conqueror, and he's gonna go for the all-in. There it is. Oh, Couldn't quite finish it. There's the re-engage. Wow, big damage off that Mortal Will Q. Both some still
FF
up.
still holding on to cleanse.
Gotta be careful. There's the flash. Oh, he cleanses the W. He's gonna ult back the ignite, piecing him up. And so they're both gonna end up roughly even. Both sums down. And I mean, it seems like he might have waited for the right moment. Oh, Kai kind of getting aggressive there, really showcasing his intentions. But his health is really low. This seems like it could be an ill-fated attempt. Gets poked out. Gets the engage. There's the E. There's the Q. Oh my god. Lucian Q steals it with 20 health. FF gonna take game number 1. And what a game.
FF Solutions solidifying itself as 2-0 against Pantheon.
That's very true, which I believe is the only matchup he's actually what's it called? Played Lucian into, if I understand correctly. So we are gonna get it underway. Don't worry, to those of you that are viewing, I believe it should be a black screen right now. And don't worry, that is just protecting the what's it called? The what's it called? The match. It seems that both competitors seem to have waived bans and that they are ready to go. And
We did see them talk about this in the other games chat, so
very true, but it's not often you see it every day. And then we see the Yone and we see the Rise, and this is how you know this is an FF game, because this is kind of what he does. He kind of
definitely a Rise enjoyer. Rise
just
being his best champ, his main.
very entertaining. So for the first time ever, we are going to have players waive bans. Not really typical, not what we planned, but they seemed like they were very much ready for that. So we see the Rise. We see the Yone. Those are the lock-ins. And so, what are your thoughts on this one? This is definitely a very mid lane oriented matchup. So, from I guess a character perspective, what do you think on this one?
I mean, definitely the ball is in Kai's court here. We know how FF plays Rise. We've seen it multiple times by now. We know what he likes to do. It is definitely the wild card here being Kai. We got to see how he reacts to the Rise and how Rise reacts to him.
I see. And so, how do you feel with this? So, FF is up 1 game, and I mean, he showed up with the new odds. He showed up as a 1.77 favorite, which means you get 77 back on the credit for every wager on Freedom Fighter. Whereas Kai showed up as a 230, underdog. So you get back 130 for every credit you wager on Kai, and a lot of the big money coming on FF. Which, I mean, that definitely shows more so given towards name value. I mean, he is 1-1 in the GGL. This is his what's it called? His second co-main event position. He main event our very first inaugural match, which you can go see at the Golden Goose League YouTube channel. And so definitely no stranger to this kind of position before. So how do you think, what kind of adjustments do you think Kai has to make definitely going into this second game?
Well, obviously FF's Rise plays a lot different than that Lucian that we've seen. He likes to be aggressive still, but we've easily seen the Rise turn into a CS victory like we were talking about before. So really, Kai just needs to be able to bring the aggression. Really, if he senses Rise falling back into that CS strat, or uh, you know, wanting to just play passively and win passively, he's got to just be able to actually set up an engage for himself or an opening for himself, and he's just got to be able to keep pace with it. Really,
I see. So definitely, I can definitely agree with that. And so for anyone just tuning in, we have currently on blue side, we have Kai. On red side, we have FF. FF leads the series 1-0. Won the first game on Lucian against Pantheon in a very, very razor thin victory. And then now we have Rise versus Yone. Game number 2 about to go underway. And we are set. All right, we are set. We are live. And so we have, like I said, that blue side Yone for Kai. We got Flash Ignite. Get out of the way. All right. And then we have the very patriotic FF Rise. Thank you, League Client.
his
On the
classic
red
look,
side.
giving him his name, Freedom Fighter. After all,
Very much so. So we're going to get a tier start for FF, and we're going to get the Dorm Blade on Yone.
Minions have spawned.
So these two just going to dance it out as we take a quick gloss over the runes. We've got Phase Rush, Mana Flow Ban, Absolute Focus, Scorch, Bone Plating, and Overgrowth on Rise. And then on Yone, we've got Lethal Tempo, Overheal, Alacrity, Last Stand, Second Win, Unflinching. So as with this one, this was the matchup we wanted to see in GGL 1 that we never got to see. Thankfully, Kai is going to give us the other half of the recipe.
very true, very true.
And but yeah, he's got to be careful. This Rise is definitely very much money for FF as he gets another perfect wave.
Definitely big. Starting both games, not missing a minion, just taking that small early lead could prove very worthwhile.
Very much so. And we see he's gonna try and Kai's gonna try and just kind of play under tower, see what he can get from the wave. As yeah, he's known for this rise pressure. And typically we'll see how his approach is. We've had in the past opponents that have faced this rise, at least before, take a more of like fire with fire approach, but then we got the soul unbound. There's the engage. Gonna go back under tower and gonna get about half of his health, but trading nearly half of his health. And checking it on the CS, it is roughly about a 10 CS difference. So we'll see how that one works out for Kai in the long run. Pots being used, and 39 stacks on the tier of Goddess.
Very true, very true. You know, that tier giving Rise not only his early mana to work with, a small amount of actual bonus damage. Yeah, Rise definitely, you know, holding onto that early lead through CS. Pretty big. Very big.
And so looking at the gold counter, roughly a 300 gold difference between the two in favor of FF's Rise. But they take backs here. We're going to see a dagger return as well as a sapphire crystal boot return for Rise. And a real quick shout out. This is our third match of the night. For those of you that mentioned earlier, we have Dioxxy defeating Alfaiate in our first match of the night, a best of one, and then Luft defeating Ducc in another best of one. Shoutouts to both of them. And this is game number 3, best of 3 series, currently 1-0 in favor of the Rise FF. And so definitely on return, opting for, as we've seen, a very mana heavy build. And kind of just claiming his stake right now over the lane and the waves.
Very true, very true. Just really going with that CS lead like we've talked about, like we saw earlier, or I should say previously, from the Rise pick. You know, just passively winning the lane, building up his mana, and you know, small amount of bonus damage.
Yeah, Yone's spending the
Small
soul unbound there. So he's gonna see it down for about another 10 seconds or so. And that said, though, both competitors roughly even on experience, and so we're gonna see how if you can maybe use that Yone ult to somehow create a play and catch up.
Very true, Yone ult, big piece in
Big poke
closing
under
that
tower.
gap.
Big poke under tower. Kai roughly about 20% health, and gonna opt to stay in lane. Very very bold move, especially with the phase rush on Rise. Noted both sums up for both players, but pristine full health for Rise. And then Kai gonna go and try and get a poke. Takes a fireball for that one, and so credit to him in terms of staying active with the experience, very much staying relevant in that regard. The CS gap nearly doubled. But I mean, on a champ like Yone, you definitely always have that risk of kill potential.
Very true, very true. You know, exhaust being a big preventative measure to that, hopefully.
Very much so. And, you know, all the credit to Kai. Took this on this morning's notice. So a roughly, for context, a less than 12 hours notice, got in here and took a match against someone who is showing to be potentially a very consistent star here in the GGL. So all the credit to him and all the respect. There it is. Oh! Tried to get the Q. Try and get the Q out there and get some damage. Not going to really work. He's got 15 mana, so out of mana. But very low health for Kai. And FF is going to take a recall here. Flash down for both of them. That's a very, very interesting thing to point out, is that now with both flashes out, these engages are definitely going to hit much, much harder.
You know, Yone, both flashes being down, Yone definitely has a small advantage here. Just being able to not only engage, well, actually engage, and not worry about Rise flashing out of a poor situation, but also being able to escape fairly easy. Rise not being able to follow as easily without that flash.
And so, very interesting thing here, we've got the Catalyst of Aeons, which is going to build into a Rod of Ages for Rise. And we see that we've got Berserker's Greaves and the Dagger for Kai's Yone. Big thing to note is that the gold difference is roughly only 200, between 2 to 300, which, given the CS gap, is very impressive for Kai. So he's done a very good job of terms of mitigating loss.
Very true, very true.
Because we have seen some very massive CS gaps here in GGL before.
Yes.
Which subsequently to gold gaps. There it is, trade. About roughly 40% mana traded for like 30% health. So still very much in favor of that Rise, especially nearing 200 stacks on that tier. There it is, the Soul Unbound. Engage, there's the Q. Trading autos. Oh! Got very close to walking the jungle with that one. You're not allowed to walk in the jungle walking the line very, very finely. There's the ult engage. There's the ignite. Gonna trade autos. Oh, but the exhaust comes out with the poke. FF's gonna clean up this series. 2-0. And
A very, very promising fight.
so credit to both of them, both very game last minute opponents, like I've said before. But in this one, we are going to see FF take the series 2-0 against Kai. We very much hope to see Kai back in the future, and strong showing by both of them. I mean, I don't really think you can really explain it any other way that both of them very much showed up and were ready to play.
Very true, very true. Good showing from both.
And so we'd like to thank Kai, and then we'll see if we can get FF here for our first post-match interview of the night. So we will see. But how about you, Dioxxy? Any thoughts on this one? Any more additional closing thoughts?
I mean, I really said all I wanted to say about the match. I mean, both sides played fairly well. Like, it was a good match all around. Both sides felt pretty even. Wasn't too, like, one side was too swamped compared to the other. It was a good match.
All right, and so with that, I believe we have FF here for a post-game interview.
Hello.
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 You're live on the internet. Oh, we're gonna tell you this
Okay.
once right now.
I'd just like to say to my opponent Kai, that was the most fun I have had in a GGL. Very honorable. I always try to go into these, as the bad guy, kind of just cocky and a dickhead. But Kai made me realize there's more to it than that. Such a cool guy. Very fun games to play. Very, very, very fun matches that I just played.
So you're now 2-1. So where do you think you go from here? You're now 2-1. You got Mini Mars versus Fanter for the next GGL in roughly 3 weeks. So
I mean, if I want a free game, I want Mini Mars. If I want a free game, I want Fanter. But, I just want to have fun at this point.
all right,
Just
well,
wanna...
you're very fun to watch.
I appreciate that.
And now you're batting above 500. So thank you.
I needed my revenge. I need my revenge tour.
Yep. And so thank you, and everyone give it up for Freedom Fighter.
Thank you very much for putting on the GGLs.
Of course, no problem.
Adults.
And I believe we've got Kai who would like to say something. I believe, give him credit. You showed up here on last minute's notice. Kai, hello, Kai. You are live on the internet. Just fair warning.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, like I say, I keep bringing it up because for some of these competitors, we give them like quite a bit of time to prepare, even in terms of some people like to really strategize. But you took this like on 8 hours notice.
Yeah.
So, how are you feeling?
Honestly, the games were like really, really, really nice. FF is like an amazing player. I was like, stressing the entire time. It was extremely fun. And I just want to thank you again for like putting on these like the GGL or whatever you call this. And it's an amazing experience. Thank you.
Of course, no problem. I mean, can we expect to see you back?
100%, 100%. Like this time I'll prepare more. Hopefully I can do a better job.
All right. I mean, hey, you put on a good showing, and credit to you. And also, do you want to give a shout out to your team? Your who's the team manager, Rain?
Oh yeah, okay. Shout out to Rain. I recently joined a team called Snack Bears SNC. We compete in amateur LCS leagues, and yeah, that's basically it. Shout out to Rain.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and we hope to
Thank
see
you.
you. We hope to see you back.
Definitely, definitely. All right. Bye bye.
And so credit to both of them. And so please stay tuned. We are going to take a very brief intermission as we prepare for our main event, Python versus Java. Both of them 1-1. Both of them look like championship contenders. So please stay tuned for that. Python versus Java GGL2 main event coming right up. Hello to those of you that have stuck around. We are back now. We are currently in the midst of our bans. Anyone that sees the what's it called, that has seen the previous GGL, we used to do a different format for bans, but we have made a change to ensure fairness and as well as more competitive nature for the best of ones we do. And so yes, bear with us with these growing pains, but we are getting ready and prepped for the main event, which is Java versus Python. Which should be a banger. Both these contenders have put on fight of the night performances in the past and are immensely entertaining. And so we should be in for a good one. And so, yep, we are into this champ select. So, now that we're back, how are you feeling about this one?
Well, I mean, this is definitely a match a lot of people wanted to see. A lot of people wanting a chance to actually go at Python. So definitely one people are looking forward to.
Very, very true.
In terms of playstyle, I mean, honestly, we've seen quite some different things from these two players. Both, I believe, both picking Thresh or a support at least in one of the games. But yeah, definitely there's some room for some weird things, and there's some room for some really good plays.
All right, and so we've seen the Caitlyn pick. We see Akali. This is a very interesting one because Akali is definitely a champ that is almost always permanently banned in GGL competition. So, how I feel about seeing this one, Akali making her GGL debut. Dioxxy, any thoughts on that?
Definitely quite scary, if I'm being honest. Akali definitely boasting some high damage, especially going into someone with a low health pool like Caitlyn. Definitely could spell trouble for Java here.
Very much so. So, to give a recap, going into this one, they are even picks. They both pay back 91 to the single credit. Both 1-1 in the GGL, both prior main eventers. I mean, this is Python's third consecutive main event.
Yes, definitely a popular candidate in the GGL.
And so, definitely a good time. We're getting ready for our main event, and you know what's almost as good as a as a GGL main event? Winning free money. And so as we talked about earlier, shout out to our sponsor, Deep Below Esports, helping us prepare this event and in terms of promoting it and getting the competitors. So I don't know if you heard, but they're having a Clash in the Aqua Dome Rocket League tournament.
Interesting.
So from July 1st to the 23rd, It is an uncapped free entry tournament that welcomes both casual and competitive players alike. First place winning $300. So you can show up with nothing and walk away with 300 at the end of the weekend.
Wow. Sounds like a good deal.
So if anyone is interested, please head over to Deep Below Esports, or if you are curious, feel free to message _CUJO_Cujo. Shout out once again, Deep Below Esports, a very appreciated sponsor of GGL2 Java versus Python. Thank you to them. And so back to the matchup. So as we load in, we've got Akali, we've got Caitlyn, even picks. So right now, you're a better. Who are you putting your money on? Knowing that this is
Ooh.
also a best 2 out of 3.
Yes, definitely a hard choice. In terms of if we're looking at this from terms of like kill pressure, I definitely have to give Python the edge here just based on the champ pool we've seen him play. You know, he plays Yasuo, Yone, a lot of assassin type characters from what we've seen. So he definitely knows how to play with early kill pressure and very strong champs into the type of champs we've seen from Java, like the Caitlyn. I believe we saw an Ezreal at one point, I think. So yeah, I mean, in terms of kill pressure, definitely an edge to Python, but if we do see Java get to play his game here, especially with this Caitlyn, you know, sitting back safe, farming, it could very well be his game as well. So
I see. So to everyone who is watching, this is it. GGL2 main event out of the blue side with a GGL record of 1-1. We have Python on the Akali, and out of the red side with a GGL record of 1-1, we have Java on the Caitlyn. Big title implications for the two of them, as they are original GGL members. Both of them going, coming off very unfortunate losses in their, in their previous main event showings. So they're definitely looking to bounce back.
Oh, look. Someone's got a death wish.
And so we'll see who can do it as the minions arrive here in mid lane. And, you know, credit to the skins. We got KDA Prestige Akali, and we've got Battle Academia Caitlyn. And then want to give also unofficial shoutouts to the corners of these respective competitors. In the corner of Python, you have Fanter, who is then going to face the corner of Java in Mini-Mars at the next GGL for our inaugural title. So very active competitors we have.
definitely a night to look forward to.
Yep. So getting a quick look at the CS, we have Caitlyn on the Doran's Blade, up 6 CS, now 7 on the Akali, who is only at 3 CS, opting for that Doran shield. And so, from what we know about them, Python, he's a typically in his nature, he's a finisher. He likes to go out and get the kill, taking a lot of damage right now. Whereas we have Java, who one of the few players who is very much content on playing the CS game.
Very true, very true. A bit of an unusual practice for our competitors. None really wanting to win by CS, but Java coming out here and making that his sole goal with some of his picks.
Very much so. And so with this, we have Akali taking a lot of poke, which is definitely very detrimental, especially with the Caitlyn headshot Headshot's going to help her CS better. It's going to help her give a better damage output. So Python really playing on the back foot in this game 1, although catching up in the CS. And so currently you have this wave, this red wave about to very much going to crash into tower. And so we're going to see how Python responds to all this aggressive lane pressure, as well as the very, very long range Caitlyn.
Ooh.
Caught by the trap. Wow, gets hit by the Peacekeeper while in smoke. Gonna take a recall. Does Java agree for this, or no? Do you think he lets the recall go through? And the recall goes through. You know, we have Mini Mars in that that Java corner, very aggressive player at times. So then you never know what he may like for his teammate in there right now. But looking at the CS, 13 CS lead for Java on the Caitlyn. We're gonna see Amp Tome and Refillable coming out for Akali. Meanwhile, on the Caitlyn, we will see double longsword and boots. How do you feel about these backs?
I mean, definitely, like we said earlier with AD champs, you know, just having that option of longsword definitely pushes that lead just a little bit further. You know, coming back with 2 longswords and boots is a lot better than, or can be seen as a lot better than Amp Tone and the Refillable. So, still looking fairly well for Caitlyn here. But as we know, it is Akali. So once 6 is in play, it could easily change.
Very true, and 6 is definitely when Akali wants to play her game. Definitely shout out to also our Discord mod Wolf, an avid Akali connoisseur. Not even gonna say enjoyer, connoisseur. There's the ult out. Wow, sending Python nearly to half health, shutting down any real engage Akali may want. But those refillables doing work. So obviously, as we see the XP lead for Java, but he seems very wise to this matchup, despite from the meetings I've had with him, the Akali not an anticipated pick.
Very true, very true.
So with the Akali not being an anticipated pick, we're left with the situation where we're going to see how well they prepared. That said, this CS lead, much credit to Python, he is doing very, very effective job at catching up in this CS lead.
Very true. He's not letting himself drown in that deficit that we've seen a lot of people fall victim to.
Very true. And so he's going to take it back here right now. Goal difference gonna be about 200, just under 200. And so Java now opting for a back, and we're gonna see what he comes back with. Hextech Alternator. Very strong buy for any AP user. But I think this is kind of showing that he may want to start getting more aggressive with his what's it called? Start wanting to get more aggressive with his approach. And so, as was notified there by the client, we have the Noon Quiver coming out for Caitlyn.
Very true, very true.
Which, especially if you're going to go for a CS win, a very strong item that you're going to want to have in your back pocket is that Noon Quiver.
Noon Quiver, yes.
And so now with that Hextech Alternator out in the CS gap, staying roughly similar, we're going to see how Python is going to want to approach. Is going to really want to approach this. I mean, now we have the ult on cooldown for Caitlyn for about another minute 20.
Yeah. I'm definitely seeing, you know, Akali being able to bring back the pressure a bit, especially after hitting 6. You know, just that threat of multiple gap closers as well as just an execute, really proving itself in putting the pressure back on Caitlyn.
And so, oh, a lot of damage being taken there by Python Sakali. And as we're looking at them, Java doing a really great job of kind of just laning, what's it called, like laming out his opponent. Keeping good constant pressure. And not really a strong answer from Python, as the CS is now getting to kind of a dangerous number. We're getting 3/4 of the way there for Java. Oh, there's the engage. There's the E. Activated the ult 1. Oh, there's the trap. Puts in the smoke. The ignite going out. And Python going to disengage on this one, using the ult to run away from that Q. And Java kind of fending off a very, very strong Akali engage.
Definitely scary for both players there, although something to note, Java holding on to both flash and barrier there being huge in this matchup.
Very true. And so we see that ult come out post-fight, sending Akali to sub 400 health, now to sub 150. This is very dangerous. It's going to kind of set up a situation where now, even though Python is very good at closing that CS gap as he takes his recall, now we're getting to a point where it's almost impossible to catch up just by the sheer volume of mains that we're going to see. Just in the lane. 15 away from a CS victory, and we see the Sorcerer's Shoes coming out for the Akali. And meanwhile then, on the Caitlyn, we are going to see Berserker's Greaves and a Longsword. It's a very, this very narrow gap is now widening. So how do you feel about the Sorcerer's Shoes back, especially given that Akali kind of needs a kill right now?
I mean, definitely offering, well, not offering, but getting that little bit of magic pen early on, as well as the upgraded boots to really help catch up. You know, could be a huge factor. I mean, we saw the engage already and how much damage Java took. Of course, he never popped his flash nor his barrier there, so we can't really say for certain one would immediately go in Akali's favor, another one with the Sorcerer's Shoes, but it's definitely going to help in the next engage that he wants to go in for.
Very, very much so. And so right now, 93 CS for Java on this Caitlyn. Kali definitely showing that aggression, showing that threat. Brings the control ward. He knows what he wants, and he wants it, that 100 number. We're at 96, 97, engaged by Akali. Oh, he's going to take the E back in. There's the ult up for Akali, but he's not. 97, 98, gonna get close to 99. There's the 100th minion. Does not get it.
Tower denying the 100th minion.
He's gonna try and greed for it. There it is. There's the engage. Oh, the E does not hit. Ult is activated. There it is. 100 CS. And Java.
First round.
Gonna take game number 1 in this main event, best 2 out of 3 series.
A summoner has disconnected.
12 minutes is the time. Java gonna take a 1-0 lead. So, I mean, thoughts on that? Thoughts on what we just saw?
I mean, basically what we really thought to be expected. We know that Caitlyn pick we've seen from Java before. We know his game plan with that is he just really wants to solidly get that CS going, get ahead on CS, just poke the opponent out, play his own game, not really even engage with the opponent, and seems to have worked out for once. Being, I believe, the first time he actually was able to stick to his plan.
Very, very true. And to those currently tuning in, don't worry, we are still here. The black screen is just a protection as we get the game ready. So yes, just please bear with us. You can listen to me and my wonderful co-commentator Dio. So, what do you think we can expect going into this game number 2? For those who are unaware, Python has opted for the red side now, so that's not necessarily going to mean counterpick. He's going to get that. He's going to get last ban though, so very very big thing to note.
I feel like a definite expectation here is either playing something to, work better against a potential Caitlyn pick, or to just outright ban that Caitlyn. If it really does scare Python like that. As for what Java might do, I mean, he really has a lot of possibilities to take game 2. I mean, now he's in a position where he can play a bit more freely, because if he loses, we just go on to game 3 rather than him being down. So we might see something more experimental, or we could just see him play something a lot safer, a lot more known to him that he can just try to close out this game with.
I see. And so we've got Ari ban first out, which definitely Ari as a champ, a lot of people do not want to play against. One of the most banned champs in the GGL. So we see that Ari ban. We're gonna wait to see what is gonna be the first red side ban. It is gonna be that Varus again. And then in response, we're going to get a Yone ban. So kind of mirroring so far what we saw. We got Yone, Ari, Yone. We have another Ari, Yone. We'll see if that Senna gets banned again, but instead it's going to be the Caitlyn taken off the table. So Caitlyn taken off the table. Yeah, I mean, Caitlyn definitely one of the stronger picks we've seen in GGL, especially Java Ria likes it for those CS style wins, for those long poking games, and getting the benefit of headshot.
Very true. Caitlyn just offering really safe play, where can easily just shut out opponents with her incredibly long range, win both abilities and autos.
That's a very good point, actually. Which is why Caitlyn is definitely one of the more effective picks. And also, Caitlyn being a very popular champ is definitely, it always makes her a pretty safe ban as well. A lot of people can play Caitlyn, as she's very, very popular. And so we'll definitely see what we can see. So we're recapping. The bans are Varus, Caitlyn, Senna, Ari, Zed, and we have the game underway. So a lot of ADC bans, which is very interesting because Java is a support player, and yet we see him show a very, very high presence on these ADC champs. So, I mean, it's very interesting nonetheless. So we see Python hovering that Yasuo pick, which from the meetings we had with, there it is, the Yasuo lock-in with Java, he wanted to get that Yasuo pick out. Him and his team really were set on trying to figure out what is the best matchup for that Yasuo, and they had talked about the possibility of a Swain pick.
I mean, yeah. Like, we've known not Fanter, sorry, apologies. Python does like his Yasuo. We've seen it in the past, I believe. Definitely a scary pick, but Java definitely wanting a chance to maybe take it down. He just wants to prove that it might not be as scary as people think it is.
Which is a very, very bold undertaking for him. He is up 1-0 in the series. And this one definitely shaping out like it could be a very, very strong game 2. So they wanted the Swain because they believe Swain had something that could shut down this Yasuo. For those of you that are unaware, Python has a very core set of champs, but he plays those champs at a very consistent, strong level. Whereas Java, primarily a Thresh player, Thresh, other supports as well. Swain, one of his support picks, but not really used to the mid lane and the 1v1 setup. So it's definitely going to be very interesting. I mean, we saw that in game 1 came out with a very focused game plan on CSing. We're going to see what his plans are for game 2. What do you think of this one?
I mean, I think we're in for a pretty interesting match, honestly. Both champs picked are, their respective players are fairly solid mechanically on both. So, I think we're in for a pretty good match. Pretty going to be pretty scrappy, I assume, with the Yasuo lock-in as well as the Swain lock-in, but I think it'll overall be a pretty good match.
Definitely that's very much I think what we can expect. And so game 2, potentially it could possibly end here. And so if that is the case, once again, another shout out to our sponsors, SNC Esports, as well as Deep Below Esports, for helping put together this GGL2 production, giving some fascinating undercard matchups for our 2 main eventers. Shout outs to Alfaiate and to Luft for making their debut and really coming out here to really entertain us. We hope to see them back as well. Shout outs to Dioxxy and Ducc, also coming Ducc on short notice and making this show overall well. Very good. FF and Kai, great match. And now we are 20 seconds out from game number 2 of our main event. Both these competitors 1-1 in the GGL, and both of them even money on the odds. 5 seconds till we hit Summoner's Rift. And so we should be here. All right. Now on blue side, we have Java on the Swain, Flash, Exhaust, Electrocute. And then on this red side, we have Python, Flash, Ignite, Lethal Tempo.
Definitely primed to be a interesting match. Java opting to take Exhaust into the matchup. Just as a safety precaution, Very interesting to see where this goes.
Yeah, and we are going to see Dorn's Shield and Dorn's Ring for Yasuo and Swain, respectively. I'm getting very close. I think with this one, I think we can expect to see Java try and get a finish in this one, get a kill.
Definitely going to be hard for Swain, though. That wind wall proving to be quite effective at stopping a lot of what Swain wants to do, with this Q&E. So
very, very true.
Definitely going to have to wait for his moment.
Trying to throw an early tornado there, not really going to find its mark. I think the big thing to see is that I think for this matchup, the big dictator is going to be the CS, as these champs can sometimes take a lot of time to really get their full potential online.
Very true, very true. And as we've seen, with previous round, Java is definitely not opposed to just going for a CS victory if he needs to. So
It's very true. And so, missing the other tornado, but really taking advantage of that Yasuo mobility, and getting a lot of early pressure, a lot of early fighting, even level 3. Gets that shield up. So he kind of knows how he wanted to approach this matchup. Very aggressive, very early on. And Python, a more natural mid laner. So trying to really take, advantage of those skills, whereas Java's been doing a lot of on the field learning, if you will, with these GGL events.
very true, very true. Java being a bit more foreign to the role than Python, but still proving that he has what it takes to actually, succeed and find success.
It's very true. And so with the CS check, Java right now up about 5 CS on the Swain. That said, though, having to really make use of those early pots ate up a lot of damage, which is especially big considering that Yasuo is a manaless champion.
Very true, very true.
So, both of them trading damage there. But, like I said, being a manaless champion, the resources, arguably, you can say, are more in his favor. Same thing we saw with the Akali matchup, stamina versus mana.
All good points, all good points.
Set out the wind wall. Try and stop any gate. Gonna get the level 5 before Swain for Java. Still down on the CS. But definitely keeping up the pressure. The big thing's gonna be is, can you give us a little bit more? Oh, it gets pulled in. There's the Swain E. And a lot of pressure eaten up by Python right there. So can you give us a little more insight into what we can expect out of Swain ult?
Well, definitely level 6 for both champs is where stuff really tends to get interesting. Swain ult specifically offering a lot of sustain. And overall, just a pretty big burst of good chunk of damage. It stays active as long as it's actually hitting someone, and his champ or his opponent, being a melee, definitely helps. Give him the edge in that fight. Hopefully, just with the raw healing off of it. That being said, though. A little bit of a trade. That being said, though, he, it is a Yasuo he's going against. Yasuo can output a lot of damage and is very hard to hit sometimes, so it's definitely just we'll see what happens.
Very, very good point. Important to note, both of them at level 6, stopping a lot of that poke right there with the wind wall, getting a CS check. Still the consistent 5 behind of Java Swain, but even in terms of gold value for the most part, slight favor to Java, and he's going to take that first back. And he's going to come back with the Berserker Dude. So going to get to lane relatively fast. Meanwhile, Java very content on trying to send that way forward. Big note, TP has not been the summoner spell of the night. We have yet to really see any TP come out.
Very true, very true. A lot of champions we've actually seen, rise in Pantheon. Pantheon having that global ultimate, or semi-global ultimate, in place of that TP, although we never get to see it used yet.
That's very true.
And then Rise having Realm Warp.
early trading. Gonna send out that we got a missing ping. Oh, gonna narrowly dodge that tornado. And just really a lot of early lane trading. 4 CS difference, and now it's back to 5. Java being money with his CSing right now, keeping that 5 gap buffer, which if that stays as we go on, it's gonna become a big deal.
Definitely putting the pressure on this Yasuo to either catch up in CS or make something happen.
Another tornado miss. Oh, wind wall. Beautifully timed there on the E. And Java over the halfway point in this race to see. And we're gonna have to make a ruling on that. But him interacting with the jungle monsters to get flow. But using that as a strategy, gain flow as he comes forward in this. In these trades. And so now the CS gap roughly about 10. He's gonna ult him under tower with the ignite, shuts him down. In Python, shuts down Java just like that. Tornado, ult. And we're gonna go to game 3. I mean, kind of really sensing the urgency.
Definitely a surprising turnout for game 2.
Very much so. And so, what kind of bans do you think we can expect? So we've already got a Varus out the way again. This is Varus' 3rd consecutive game banned. So do you think we see a Yasuo ban potentially?
I mean, there's definitely a possibility. I mean, we got to see, the classic Yasuo matchup. We got to see him play Swain, Caitlyn. There's definitely, the most targeting of bans to happen in this round. The most drastic. We even might see like Yasuo or another previous champ get through. It's really just what they deem too hard to counter or what they don't want to play against after experiencing those 2 games.
Sounds very promising. So we've got Varus, Caitlyn, and Senna, all 3 ADCs, much like game 2, taken off the board, and we're gonna get the final red side ban, which last time was Zed. We could very much potentially see Zed again. Nope, it's gonna be Yasuo. Yasuo taken off the table. And so as we get ready for game number 3.
And to reiterate real quick before game number 3 really kicks off, damaging the jungle camps like that is going to be changed. That is not going to be allowed.
Yeah, come future GGLs, we're going to have a more so discussion with both competitors about it, but that's going to be more so for the logistics. But yes, we will look into it promptly after the match. But that's that. Let's focusing now though on game 3. And so we're gonna see. What we could expect to see 40 seconds in, and not even a hover. So it's very interesting. Both of them thinking about this very clearly.
Very true, very true.
So we see a ribbon hover for Python, which is definitely not a champ that, at least very much us in the GGL, we associate him with. Not really a champ we were familiar with potentially in his repertoire. So ribbon could definitely be a very fun, exciting champ. But instead, it seems it's going to be Zed versus Quinn.
Definitely an interesting matchup. A little scary for Quinn, I might add, but could be equally as scary for Zed with Quinn's passive as well as E to really space him out and do a lot of damage to him.
Very, very true. So we have the final GGL matchup: Zed versus Quinn. And what a GGL this has been. GGL 2, we had great best of ones to start, and then we had a very fun co-main event with two very entertaining personalities. And then now we're here in the main event.
Very true, very true.
We saw, yeah.
Definitely going to be an interesting match, yeah. Way to close it out, GGL 2.
We saw Akali. We saw what's it called? Akali versus Caitlyn, which was a CS win. Very, very competitive. Our only CS win of the night so far. And then we saw Yasuo versus Swain, in which Yasuo really digging in deep, doing what he could to go out and get a very vital kill on Java Swain to bring us to game number 3. And both these competitors have a lot of competitive spirit. And I mean, the implications for this could lead to a very, very interesting, next contender for those that look to follow the GGL following GGL 2, most likely given a few days, in the Discord server, which you can join on the Kick, which you can find on the Kick channel. On the Discord server, look for some of these competitors to have numbers next to their names. We will be ranking them, which will just give an easier format to understand who the ranking committee decides is metaphorically, more so proverbially, better. And just keep an eye out for that, as some of these competitors may have a number next to their name come Friday. But once again, as we get ready for this main event under 1 minute, once again, a shout out to our sponsors: Deep Below Esports, SNC Esports. Thank you to Dioxxy, Alfaiate, Ducc, Luft, FF, and Kai, as well as to all those who signed up who unfortunately could not make it tonight. Their participation, or their willingness to participate, is all very much appreciated. And now here we are, 20 seconds out. Game 3, GGL 2, Python versus Java main event, Zed versus Quinn. I think we're going to be in for a really exciting, really aggressive game number 3. We are 5 seconds out from Summoner's Rift.
Here's to a good round 3.
Yep.
Opting to take the barrier to play it safe from Java, as we see the Ignite again from Python.
Very true. We're going to get... All right. So we are in, and we...
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
All right, we've got, out of blue side, Python on Zed, Meanwhile, coming out of the red side, we've got Java on Quinn. And so we've got Flash, Barrier, PTA for Quinn, Flash, Ignite, Conqueror for Zed. So both of them opting to play very, very safe. Not going to look for any early trading as they wait for minions. And challenge issued by Python. And so how do you feel about this matchup, especially when, let's focus on the effects of Valor's vulnerable?
Well, yeah, I mean, for Quinn, the vulnerable from Valor is basically just free damage. I mean, combine that with her W, proccing the passive actually gives her increased attack speed and movement speed. It's really strong. I mean, and even in the 1v1 sense, it's just a lot of extra damage that can just suddenly be applied. And combine that with how she can force market on people with her Q and also E. And it's a lot of damage that can come from Quinn in a short amount of time.
Very true. Very early aggressive tower. Engage. And so, as we see here so far, Zed getting the slightest lead on CS, both of them. So far, seemingly pretty aggressive. I mean, you really don't want either of these champs to scale in any capacity. Whether it's the Zed burst or Quinn's just damage from a range, there's the nearsighted, can be very punishing.
Both champs definitely playing a dangerous game against each other. Both being able to punish each other off of mistakes very heavily.
Very, very true. Oh, getting a lot of... what's it called? Getting a lot of poke out of that. So, as we do a quick CS check, for roughly the first time in this series, Python has the CS lead 22-17. And Java on this Quinn kind of playing it very passively. Although, big thing to be careful with is that, you know, Quinn E is a lock-on, so she will follow you.
Very true. Also being her best disengage tool in case that ever tries to go in here. That E is definitely crucial in this matchup.
It is very true. And so, it's very possible. Wow, getting a lot of early poke. The big thing, though, to watch out, though, is that if this does get to level 6, Quinn does have, while not a TP, the second one of the best things you can get to that, and that is with Valor Alpha Respawn. Gonna definitely help her make a lot of time, especially if the CS gap gets larger, which doesn't really seem like will be the case. And so, right now, both of them playing, well, more so, Quinn wanting to play a fairly passive game. Zed trying to be aggressive as he can. And a 6 CS gap. Seems like Java's going to want to take an early recall now that the level 6 is hit.
Definitely dangerous for him to stay in lane under half health when Zed does now have ult as well. Zed's ult being particularly dangerous, especially against someone like Quinn, who has such a low health pool already.
But we are going to see the double longsword boots return for Quinn, and most likely going to see some sort of longsword. Oh, we're going to see a serrated Dirk double longswords return for Python, as well as that refillable. So this brings up a very interesting point, though, because if there was ever a time to try and make up on CS, it is now, especially because Quinn does just have that very strong return from her ult with Valor. But it seems like the gap is not going to really widen that much. And just opting to play back. Oh, now activating the ult, trying to find the opening. Not really going to get much. There's the E engage. There's a Q poke. Trade very much favoring Java.
Very aggressive plays from Java, trying to put the pressure on Zed when he can, while he has the health too. But falling below half, very dangerous for him.
Oh, there's the ult engage for the Zed. The barrier comes out, stopping something. Oh my god, the ult pop. And just like that, Python has finished Java. And that's going to be a win for Python, as he will finish Java roughly 7 minutes into game number 3 of the main event for GGL2. So Python, you did it. What's it called? 2-1. You finished Java. How do you feel?
It's easy. What can I say?
All right.
Knew I was gonna win. I did it.
I mean, he called you out. He definitely, there are a lot of them looking for that what's it called? Looking to run it, run it back with you. And you did it. I mean, you finished them in what's it called?
Honestly, I didn't expect to. I didn't expect to win. I'm gonna lie. After that first game, I was like, oh. But then he left Yasuo open, and I was like, ooh, you know, he might be he's hard baiting me into playing Yasuo. But I don't care. I'm gonna select Yasuo. That's what I thought.
All right. I mean, definitely. I mean, you took the challenge and you were able to pull that one out. And so, what do you think looking forward? Now you're 2-1 in the GGL.
Well, would have liked to have been 3-0, but obviously can't do that anymore. But yeah, I'll be down to run some more matches anytime.
Anytime. All right. Well, I mean, you've got your corner. You got Fanter. He's next GGL gonna be going for the title against Mini Mars.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm assuming you're gonna support your boy in that one.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Ooh.
Anyone you want to shout out? Anyone you want to call out? Remember, we're live on the internet.
I'm gonna have to shout out Fanter, Coffee, who's probably not with us, Jesse, Above Night, Abel. I'm gonna shout out Christian, Alyssa, I got everyone.
All right.
All global.
Okay. And anyone you want to call out?
Not at the moment.
All right. Well, thank you and congrats on a on a main event win.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, give it up for Python. And so, with that, I think we our GGL2 comes to a close. To recap the night, you had Dioxxy defeating Alfaiate 1-0 in a best of 1, and then you had Luft defeating Ducc 1-0 in a best of 1. You had FF defeating Kai 2-0 in a best 2 out of 3, And then in our main event, you had Python defeating Java 2-1 in our main event. Thank you to everyone who participated. Thank
Yes,
you,
big thanks to everyone participating.
thank you, Dioxxy. I mean, what you participated, you opened the night, and then now you're closing out the night on the desk.
Yep.
Big thank you to everyone. Big thank you to our sponsors, below esports as well as SNC esports. Go join their Discord, follow them on their socials. And for anyone that's interested, you can join the GGC, the Golden Goose Discord. And then from there, if you are interested in participating in the GGL yourself, you can sign up. We're always looking. We're always reaching out to teams. And so you want to get competitive, our doors are open to everyone. So please do not hesitate to reach out. Or you can reach me at Bearhawk25 on Discord. Thank you to everyone. This is always very much appreciated. And we will see you in about 3 weeks with hopefully GGL 3 Fanter versus Mini Mars for the inaugural GGL title. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.